Hey everyone, Rick here, back. Talk a little bit this week about reinvention. And in case you don't know who I am, my name's Rick Foerster, and I used to be a startup guy who helped build a company from zero to a $2 billion public company, and then decided to throw all that away to, I guess, become a writer or something. So this piece is titled Reinventing Yourself as an Adult Takes Too Much Time and, unfortunately, money. Do you remember the ending of the movie The Truman Show? It's such a good ending. In it, Truman, played by Jim Carrey, goes through hell in order to escape the literal bubble he's living in, despite the world's creator, Christoph, played by Ed Harris, making every attempt to keep him inside it. In the end, though, Truman bows, delivers this famous line, and steps through the door. Except there's one more shot right before the credits that you probably forgot. Now, first, let's rewind through the ending's flurry of emotions. First, it starts off as triumphant. There's a hero shot of Truman sailing away after he beats Christoph's artificial storm. Then it's surprising as his sailboat runs right into the world's wall. He becomes hopeless as he's banging his fist against the wall and sky, realizing he'll probably never be able to escape this bubble he's in. But then it becomes hopeful as he finds a staircase and an exit door. Now, before he walks through that door to nowhere, there's a pivotal conversation between Truman and Christoph that could have been the transcript of the debate inside my head after I decided to leave the corporate world. Here's Truman finally asking the mega questions he probably doesn't want the answer to. He says, quote, "Who am I? Was nothing real?" Christoph, the douchebag, totally deflects, saying this in response. He says, quote, "Listen to me, Truman. There's no more truth out there than there is in the world I created for you. You're afraid. That's why you can't leave." Then Christoph ends on this killer line, which I swear someone said to me when they wanted me to come back to work. He said, quote, "You can't leave, Truman. You belong here," end quote. Now, of course, our hero doesn't fall for the seduction, thank God. Instead, he delivers his classic line. And I'm not going to be able to do this in Jim Carrey voice, but I'll just say it straight, and you'll have to watch the movie if you need to see the effect. But he says, "In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night." Then he makes a big bow, turns, takes a bold step through that door. Yay! End of movie. Go Truman. We're rooting for Truman here because we like to think we did the same. Oh yeah, we'd walk right through that door, triumphant, head held high, breaking society's walls, waving goodbye to all the douchebags, and adding one last jab in for fun. We would, wouldn't we? But wait, there's one more shot that you may have forgotten, right before the movie cuts the credits. It's two security guards staring at the blank screen after the show within the show cuts off. The guards say, "You want another slice?" "No, I'm okay." "What else is on?" "Yeah, let's see what else is on. Where's the TV guide?" End of movie. Now this is the moment I want to talk about. Because after Truman makes his triumphant exit through that door, the world moves on, but I guarantee you that Truman hasn't. If you ever decide it's time to click the reset button on your entire life, rip apart what you used to be and used to know in favor of a black hole in the wall, then God bless you. You're the hero for like 10 seconds. Then you're not. Then you're standing alone on the other side of a door that leads to nowhere. To begin with, the reset probably wasn't even your idea. Most don't volunteer willingly for this type of thing. You got pushed out, laid off, burned out, life blew up, whatever. You never really wanted this. You wanted life to go right from the start. Who of us wants to be in the bubble? Rebuilding now feels like a huge waste of time, and worse, an embarrassing admission that you had it wrong all this time. But let's say you're like Truman, and despite the voice inside your head telling you otherwise, you've finally summoned the gumption to actually make a change. You're ready. Let's go. Well, I hate to break it to you. It's going to take a whole lot more from here. I know this all too well. Despite the hard work and suffering and self-doubt you overcame to claw your way to here, well, that was just one milestone, a single step along the journey to reinvention. Truman's not even close. You're not even close. You were the hero for that moment, but you won't be able to claim victory until you figure out what's on the other side of that door. Take Truman, the moment after he steps through the door. Think about it. Here's a man who now has to rebuild an entire adult life from zero with no idea who he is or where he's headed. He's escaped, but also he's going to require a load of time and therapy to process what he just went through. More importantly, who's going to pay for it? Once the fans lose interest, and they will, then what? I can guarantee you everything won't be resolved after he takes a 2-week vacation or a course from an influencer he found on TikTok, or he subscribes to a random guy's newsletter. The camera cut away right before the boring, expensive part, which turns out to be most of it. Truman's got a killer exit line, but what he really needs is a 3-year sabbatical to figure out his life. I'm entering year 4 of my transition/sabbatical, still waiting to know when it's over. When will I arrive? Have I arrived already? Will I ever? In retrospect, my transition makes sense on a grand narrative. I processed my exit. I let go of my old self. I got lost. I tried a bunch of stuff. I wrote a book. And, okay, who am I now? But at the day-to-day level, my goodness, it feels like it's taking forever. I anticipated I'd already be there with life figured out, say, 3 months after leaving. It's been 3 years. Here's another part tidy narrative skip. It's a good thing my prior life funds this one. 3 years of figuring it out has a price tag. And I've got 2 kids, a mortgage, and a growing budget for strange-sounding supplements. Someone has to pay for this stuff. Fortunately, that someone was a younger version of myself who stayed in the bubble long enough to pay for my escape out of it. Ironic? Let's get concrete. In 3 years, I've made a total of $4,537.50 in income, and I've easily spent multiples of that in expenses related to writing a blog that will probably never make me any money, and a book that will, in all likelihood, be a loss leader. For what? Never mind, it's just a loss. You won't hear any of this if you follow too much reinvention porn. You know, the quit and follow your dreams genre, where a beautiful new life is supposedly waiting for you on the other side of that door. No transitions ain't cheap, and you'll keep asking whether the choice to walk through was a mistake again and again. So, back to Truman. Should Truman walk through that door anyway? Is blowing up his life still worth it? Yes, he should. Because once you're standing in front of that black door, you can't not go through. You have to. You need to. It's going to take time, and it may make 0 sense when you run the numbers, but there's no real good way to avoid that door. If you stay within the bubble, it may be safe and familiar, but you'll always know deep down you're inside the bubble. Plus, the other side includes an upside that's inaccessible by almost any other means. Total self-transformation. For me, it was writing. First in essays, then a book, fiction, who would have guessed? And also it was reconciliation with my workaholic past, expansion of my definition of ambition, reorientation toward what really matters, and a dozen other big and small things that I would have never accessed had I not taken that step. I wish this reinvention stuff were more accessible. You may need to adapt and find a quicker way. You may need to plan ahead, way ahead. You may need to make major life changes, ones I didn't have to. But who knows, maybe your other side turns out to be a cash cow and not a lost leader like mine. That'd be nice. Just don't be shocked when that transition demands more years and more money than the triumphant music implied. And be careful not to compare your messy, expensive, unfilmed real life with others' perfect transitions that are clearly staged. It's going to take time. It's going to take money, but it's still worth it. Hopefully. All right, folks. Thanks for listening in. See you next time.